So what are you saying, people, is another episode of The Social Worker and the Mentor. Guys, just to say, yeah, thank you so much. I'm always going to say thank you to you guys for always following and liking and subscribing in terms of our episode and our podcast. Like, you know where me and Robert act. Like, you listen, guys, it always flashes up. So you should always be able to see it. See that little like, subscribe button? Yeah, just click it. You like, subscribe, and you share, you know, and like I said, you know, I'm always gonna keep saying it. We're having so many guests who are coming onto the platform as well. Our layout's completely different as well as what we're doing. Big up to the studio, by the way. Big up to the studio.
The studio is
big
nice.
up to the studio.
Fancy.
Big up to the studio, yeah. Big up to the studio. But yeah, you like, subscribe, and share. You know where to find myself and Rob. And if you want to come on as a guest, you will see the email very soon, thesocialworkerandmentor@gmail.com. So guys, you know what? This is a very, very special episode. I mean, as you guys know, outside of kind of like, you know, my 9 to 5, being a team manager, lecturer, I mentor a lot of newly qualified social workers and students. But I've got someone here that you guys probably see all the time. He's always with me. I've got someone here that I really just kind of want to shout out. But introduce yourself.
Hi everybody, I'm Susie from the Social Work Survival Files, and it's a pleasure to be here. This is the first ever social work and the mentee session.
Exactly.
So this is brilliant.
Did you hear that again? Run it back.
Social work and the mentee. Obviously we love Rob. Yeah, he's number one, but social work and the mentee.
Exactly. Actually, wait, where can he find you as well?
I'm on Instagram at Social Work Survival Files, and that's kind of where I post content to connect students with professionals and resources such as books, articles, etc. So that's me.
So Susie, let's start from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So how long have I been like your mentor for?
You've been my mentor all this year. So we decided December last year,
when
you were doing your campaign with the Barnet Union in Parliament,
when
you did that speech about the government having a responsibility to give funding to children and adult social services. And you spoke about the impact of the lack of funding over COVID. So then there at that event, you were like, oh, Susie, I should be your mentor. And I didn't think you were serious. And then from January this year, you've been mentoring me.
Literally. And because you know it was, because I think, you know, when I qualified as a social worker or even as a student, I didn't have a mentor. I didn't. I've always had good managers. But I think coming into it now, I realized that a lot of kind of social workers and students need a lot of support and need that kind of mentoring. So that's why I kind of made it and said, you know what, actually, I want to kind of mentor, you know, some students. And yeah, the thing is, Parliament, you came with me. I remember, I think I asked you to come with me, isn't it?
Yeah.
I asked you to come with me to Parliament. And then I think that day something clicked. I said, you know what, nah, Susie, I'm going to be your mentor. Do you know what I mean? Because I see like a lot of your potential and your growth. But actually, let's go even way back before.
Okay.
How did we actually meet?
How we actually met was, I met you guys on TikTok.
Yeah.
So it was TikTok, some viral clips of you guys speaking, and I had never seen black men in social services on a podcast talk about influencing the younger generation, the flaws in social services, the experience of racism with such confidence. And you guys were candid. You were very honest. You didn't sugarcoat anything. So that was before I started my social work degree. I was watching you guys for months on TikTok and YouTube. And then when I started the degree, so we started in September, I kept telling everyone in my class, oh my gosh, the social worker and the mentor are going to do a live event. But I'm too scared to go. Like, I'm too scared to network. But then my friends encouraged me. And then we went together. So that's the first time I met you guys. And the event was powerful. I remember, I think you guys walked into Stormzy.
Yeah, we did.
And I was used to like really structured sort of legal conferences because I had started a law degree before.
Yeah.
Very tense, very strict. And you guys came in with so much fun, grime, this, that, and the other. And I was like, wow, they're cultured too.
Yeah.
So that was the first time I met you guys.
And then since then, Susie, obviously, you know, one thing I've seen about you is that you put yourself out there. You go to a lot of events, you network a lot, and I think it's great because I always say to students, it's about kind of like using your initiative to kind of network and, you know, link up with people who have more experience than you. So where has your confidence come from?
My confidence comes from my purpose. So I know I want to be a youth advocate, and I've been a youth advocate for about 8 years now, even though I'm quite young. And so I know what my purpose is, and I know that those people need me. So I need to acquire these leadership skills now so I can represent them. Even if I'm shy, even if I'm anxious, even if I don't want to go, there's somebody out there that needs me.
Yeah.
To develop these skills, that needs me to develop this expertise. So that was my first confidence. I want to be a good advocate, so I have to improve my skills. That's the whole point of CPD for social workers anyway.
Yeah.
Every year you have to show that, listen, I'm trying to improve my skills. I'm trying to educate myself.
See the gems? See the gems? You see the gems?
So it was purpose first, and also I want to acquire leadership skills.
Yeah.
I'm someone that's quite anxious. I struggle with anxiety, and I can't let anxiety hold me back from being successful or hold me back from being a social worker. So I have to step out there.
But the thing is, you know what, Susie, in saying that, it's things that, I'll be honest with you, because you've got your platform, and maybe I'm just being biased because I'm your mentor, but that anxiety stuff, I actually really don't see it. I genuinely don't see it within you. I see somebody who's really, really growing.
Thank you.
And I know that you're going to be an amazing social worker. And I think that's why I kind of said, I actually need to be your mentor, because I can see the heights and where you're going. I know in terms of like my purpose, what I kind of want to pass down to the next generation. I've always said to you, it's about kind of passing that torch on. And I want to pass on that torch on to you. Do you know what I mean? Because I know where you're going to be headed. And in terms of the mentorship, how have you found it? How has it kind of like supported you in terms of like having that kind of relationship where we're able to speak and bounce off each other?
I think from the jump, it helped me tackle like ignorance, because I thought I've got a personal tutor at uni, friends that's in the class. I know some people in the year above. I've got lecturers. Why would I need a mentor? So I was like, no, I'm fine. I don't need a mentor. And you're like, Susie, I'm going to be your mentor.
Yeah.
Like, I can help you. And I was just like, well, sometimes when I go to conferences, I talk to people for 5 minutes and then they'll give me good advice. And the Instagram DMs are quite helpful. So I was like, no, I'm fine. And also, your mentor can only help who you pretend to be. So if I'm pretending like everything's okay, that you won't be able to give me as much advice, I have to be vulnerable and honest with you.
Yeah.
Then you can properly help me. And I was like, oh, I got to be vulnerable. I'm a mess. Why would I want another social work professional to see me being a mess? So I was like, no, this isn't worth it. This is so embarrassing. And I was like, no, it's fine. And then you became my mentor and you helped me go from grace to grace. And you supported me. You were very strategic with everything. You helped me recover from my failures. And you were just real. You were real with me.
And you mentioned a lot, Susie, in terms of like your failures. And I think I've always kind of said to you, I don't want you to kind of see anything as failing. I kind of want you to see it as learning. Even the most experienced managers and most experienced directors have not always gonna made the right decisions, or at times have had setbacks. I've always said to you that I don't want you to go and see it as you know, any kind of setback, because I know obviously like through our sessions and what we do, you know, obviously we meet up, we have our Zoom sessions as well, because it's about kind of creating that pathway for you and that structure for you, which Susie, you've already got the pathway, you've already got the structure. And I've always said to you that eventually, years down the line, I want you to kind of be the next kind of leader. Do you know what I mean? And part of that is, you know, me kind of investing in your growth and obviously watching you obviously climb to new heights. I said to you before that you're going to be a director of children's services.
I'm not sure.
Do you know what I mean? No, but you will, because I actually see a lot of, Susie, your potential. Do you sometimes feel maybe I overcompensate for that?
You push me outside of my comfort zone. You encourage me a lot, because I get quite nervous quite quickly, and you're like, Susie, what are you talking about? Do this, do that. And I think from the jump, representation, you're black. You're a black social worker, so you understand me, and then you're Ghanaian as well. So there was this issue where like my family kept saying, well, they're lovely, but they were saying, oh, Susie, have you considered doing a master's? I was like, I don't know. And then I experienced certain failures, and I was like, no, I'm gonna give up. I'm really bad.
I remember we had that conversation. I remember.
God. And then you were like, Susie, let's meet up. We'll draft your 10-year plan. We'll look at your failures or where you think you're falling short. We'll draft a plan for that. We'll help you catch up. And I was like, oh, oh, okay. And then we came and we spoke about the 10-year plan, and I realized, yeah, I'm academic. Yes, I would enjoy a master's degree, but is that necessarily the best thing?
Yeah.
Am I doing that for status? Am I doing that for notoriety? Like, am I doing that just to enjoy it? Is that going to advance my social work career?
Yeah.
And then you kind of spoke to me, and we developed my 10-year plan, and we thought about like the importance of an ASYE.
Yeah.
If I want to go into youth services, I don't have to do it like everybody else and go into a local authority. I can go into the youth justice system.
Exactly.
So it's just eye-opening. You don't know how much you need a mentor until you get a mentor. So I would just advise anyone, even if it's just 2 sessions you book with a professional social worker, or like a 6 weeks, invest that money, invest that time. It's 110% worth it.
I remember, Susie, there was a point where I remember we were kind of talking about placement, and I know placement was an area that I once said it was quite difficult. And I remember when I was having that conversation with you on the phone, I wasn't kind of really happy with where you were at. And even in terms of like, you know, when you were doing things to do your portfolio, remember when I called you to Susie, like, what's going on? Like, how comes at that stage? Because like I said, it's our podcast, your episode at that stage. What was it that was kind of like, oh, I don't want to go and tell Nana, my mentor, what was going on?
I just didn't want to disappoint you, because you had invested so much into me before, and you had given me like all the ways of doing things, and then I'm like, I'm trying to apply it and I just can't, because just stuff like maybe the organizational structure wasn't the same, or maybe the colleagues have their own rhythm, they have their own way of working that's opposed to what you're saying. So an example is, I was like, oh, no, like my index of evidence is looking empty, and you're like, what, Susie? I told you this, that, and that, defensive practice, what's going on? And I was like, I can't do defensive practice, because in the organisation I'm working in, and I'm a safeguarding advisor on placement, everybody operates on Microsoft Teams or quick conversations or passing notes, because that's how it is when you are helping young people ages 16 to 25 who are experiencing emergencies. I can't do defensive practice. When I write the emails, I'm not getting replies, because my managers and my colleagues, their emails are inundated with things. So it has to be a conversation, and then as soon as you have the conversation, you have to act in that moment. So all the defensive practice goes out the window. And you were like, oh, Susie, I didn't know that. Why didn't you tell me before? So it was things like that. I'll just be disappointed in myself, and then get scared, and then go back into my shell. And
the thing is, for me, part of being your mentor is about always allowing you to be able to have that open space. Do you know what I mean? And I need to be able to give you that. And like I said, you will never, ever, ever disappoint me. It's not about me thinking you'll be a disappointment. I have to, Susie, be there as your mentor to gatekeep and support you. Do you know what I mean? Because you've been a student, you're going through it. I've been there as well. Do you know what I mean? So part of that at that stage was me saying to you, Susie, look, no, come on, like, you should be able to ring me. I remember when one of your lecturers called me, and I'm not gonna say who. I'm not gonna go and say who, but spoke to me and said, Nana, like, what's going on with Susie in her portfolio? And like, you know, I was like, oh no, she hasn't spoken to me. So I remember I messaged you. I was like, Susie, what's going on? And then you were like, no. I was like, no. We need to set time aside and talk, because I don't want to go and see you. I don't want you to fail. Do you know what I mean? Like, in general, like, this is your journey. I don't want you to fail. And like I said, you know, part of that is me being able to, and also for you as well, to be able to feel comfortable, to be open with me, which you are. Do you know what I mean? But at that stage, I was questioning. I was saying, you know what? But as a mentor, what Susie would normally come and speak to me and tell me that. Do I need to go and change my approach with her? Because normally we'll talk. But do you know what I mean? But obviously, because like I said, like, I've got a mentor. I talk to my mentor all the time. But I was thinking, right, as your mentor, why haven't you not gone and told me? So I was a bit out of point, like, Susie, what was going on? But I'm glad that we were able to kind of get over that. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I think now, where I'm trying to kind of get you onto a path, I'm trying to get you onto a path whereby you're elevating,
100%.
You're also excelling. That's why, you know, I make it a point where when there's like events or things that I'm doing or things that I think will benefit you, I'm always gonna say, Susie, you know, I think you should do this. I think you should do that. How important is that for you in terms of where you're going?
I'll say two things. First of all, I do think you're an amazing mentor. It takes me a while to come out my shell. So then telling you stuff in the beginning was kind of tricky as well. But then I'm neurodivergent. So I struggle with heavily structured things. I need a mentor that understands what that is. Otherwise, it's just not going to work out. And you've been very accommodating of that. And then when I explained to you, like, no, I'm neurodivergent. I'm not one of those people who they found out that they had ADHD when they were like 20 or something.
Yeah.
My teachers have known since I was 5.
Yeah.
Right. So I just understood it, but I didn't really know how to manage it. And I wasn't properly diagnosed till I was 21.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of people don't know. But as soon as I told you, like, Susie, that's fine. That's your superpower. Why would you be embarrassed about that?
Yeah. I
You need
never
to
got why you
embrace
was
it.
embarrassed by that.
It's just embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's not like flu or something. It's not gonna go away if you take a strep or something. It's the way my brain processes things, and it's not just in academics. It's my life, so it happens in my private life and stuff as well. And it's just real. So it's just embarrassing to have to show that. Say, oh, these are my huge dreams and ambitions, but I have ADHD, and I'm really worried that is going to affect these things, because sometimes smaller tasks can be tricky for me.
Yeah.
Or change can be tricky, or sometimes change is brilliant. And I can thrive in chaos, but then sometimes when things are mundane, I can find that tricky. But you were really accommodating of that. So I remember one time you told me, oh, Susie, with your assignments, just try to do 500 words a week or 500 words
and break
a day.
it down. Yeah.
And I was like, I can't do that. Like, my brain just doesn't work that way. And then you were like, oh, how does it work? And I said this, that, and the other. And you were like, let's schedule in two sessions. I'll help you with your assignment. We'll do the genogram on this day. The next day, we'll draft the assignment on that day. And you were just accommodating. You've always accommodated for my neurodivergence and understood it. So I really appreciate that. And then the second thing about the events, I would say 10 out of 10. One of the ones you took me to was the special educational needs and disabilities.
Oh, the Black
one.
SEND conference, yeah.
10, because it's not something I know much about. I just understand youth work, so I understand that there are some young people that are neurodivergent and they need to be supported. But it was the first time I was in a room with black women like me that are also high functioning neurodivergent, and they're academics, so that was inspiring. And then just a lot of brilliant things. Parents were there and they were talking about their pain.
I remember,
Parents were talking about how they've never known how to apply for local authority support for their children.
Education, healthcare plans,
And the thing is, with the social work curriculum, it's brilliant, but it has a lot of room for improvement. So everything I knew about neurodivergence was just trinkets of it in the social work curriculum, and then most of it was tailored towards white young people or multicultural young people. So just a sweeping statement. That was the first time I saw it from the black perspective, and it came with an academic report. So when you took me to that, it honestly changed my life. I took notes all day, and I just listened. And that day I also met the 5 times more, the women.
The 5 times more,
the women who spoke about black women being 5 times more likely to have complications during pregnancy and childbirth. And then I also met black send mamas, and she makes a safe space for black families, because it's not just the young person with the disability that is affected, it's the black families and the black community. And it was the first time I ever heard of black people independently funding each other and supporting each other in community for children with disability. I never understood it. I never knew. Like, even for me personally, I've always hid my neurodivergence. People
and that's the reason why, for me, when you told me,
you were shocked.
I was like, because when you said to me, Nana, oh, I don't think you can be my mentor, I was like, why? And then you said to me, I can't tell you. I said, tell me. Then you told me, I was like, what, was that it? I was like, so that's the reason why you think I can't be your mentor? No, and that's what I'm saying, why mentors are important. And you said something else also about representation as well. Both black, also both Ghanaian as well. Has that been really, really important for you as well, in terms of having that culturally, both from the same neck of the woods, that I understand, has that been also a key thing for you?
That's meant the entire world to me. Like, there was one occasion where, because things have been quite tumultuous at home. Things have been quite tumultuous in my private life. But when I go to my personal tutor meetings, my placement supervisor, I don't tell them that. I tell them to an extent, but I can tell Nana, and you're going to give me the right social work advice, and I don't have to be perfect when I'm explaining stuff. So I was able to tell you the real. And then when I had to talk to my mum about certain things and stuff, she just wasn't really getting it, because she's not a social worker. And she was like, oh, like, why don't you do your career this way? why don't you approach your assignment this way?
Yeah.
Why did that event mean so much to you? And then you spoke to my mum one day and it all clicked, and she's like, he's brilliant, listen to him. Nana's great, just stick with him.
Yeah.
And you always say, Susie, I will never steer you wrong. And you
Never.
on the phone, you was like to my mum, a master's would be brilliant, but really look at Susie's talents, look at her future,
Yeah.
look at the financial stability that she could be getting, understand. And you were like, the social work industry looks like this. Maybe on the outside to African parents or our community looks like this. That's not the real. And when you spoke to my mum, it was so eye-opening. And the fact you called her auntie, the fact you were Ghanaian.
Of course. I can't remember my first minute. So I'll get slapped. Hey. No, but what you're saying, no, you're right. I'll continue now.
The fact you were Ghanaian and you were a young person born and raised in this country just like me, you understood. You understand the metrics on so many levels.
Yeah.
And on so many things. And obviously for me, I like people from all different backgrounds for so many reasons. But when I'm in a space where like I'm the only black person, it can be uncomfortable. Not because anyone's done anything, and I can acknowledge that.
Yeah.
No one's done anything. People are lovely here, but I'm the only black person. It feels a type of way because you're my mentor. When I explained it to you, you understood straight
and I get
away.
It. Yeah, it's true.
What
it's
the
true.
black experience is in the corporate world.
Yeah.
Whereas so many people wouldn't understand, and it would be so tricky to explain to someone that's not black.
Yeah.
And then you're also young. Like you're young. Like
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You listen to Skepta.
No, come on, man. Come on. But do you know what it is? Though? Do you know what's so mad here? Because my mentor is a woman and she's Ghanaian.
Wow.
And she's young. It's so like literally. So my actual mentor, you probably seen her in here. Yeah, big up to my mentor, by the way. Big up Rita.
Hey.
Rita, big up Rita. You know I'm big up on the podcast, yeah. But my mentor is Ghanaian, and she's a young senior manager. But she met me when I was a senior social worker, and the thing is, at the time, she was like a team manager. Then when she left, when she was leaving the first local authority I was at, she said to me, Nana, listen, take my number. Like in years to come, yeah, we're gonna talk, innit? She's like, you're gonna go far, yeah, but in years to come, just call me at the right time. Okay. Literally. And I've kept her number for 7 years. Yeah. 7 years I kept her number, yeah. And then and we talk, we have our sessions and everything, but she also gets it as well, because even at one stage she was saying to me, Nana, you see where you're at right now? Nah, you need to leave the local authority because you're not growing here. You're not growing here. Do you know what I mean? And obviously years later, obviously she's now progressed. I've also progressed as well, but I'm at a point whereby I'm trying to climb, and she's like there now. She's actually mentoring me now at the right stage because she knows where I'm going. It's the same thing, Susie, for you as well. As a student right now, like, and even like Rob will tell you as well, because Rob always says to me, Nana, you know what? You see Susie, bro, you know she's gonna go far. Like, but the thing is though, because I see that, I actually see that, because I know, like I said, I mentor so many students and social workers, do you know what I mean? So many. And it's not to say that anyone's less than anyone. It's not about them. But I'm saying, but with you, because of how we met on TikTok, then I came to your event, and that you were very kind of like proactive, do you know what I mean? Always messaging. And then obviously your platform that you've got as well. So part of that is that I can see like where you're going, because I asked you, where is it you want to go? And then you told me your aspirations, innit? And I could just see it. And Rob was saying to me, yeah, Nana, you know what? Susie's going to go somewhere, you know? So I can see that trajectory. I can see that trajectory for you. And I can see that obviously your visual. I see the work that also you're doing for a lot of your peers, being visual, the advice. I think you was saying to me that students reach out to you.
A lot of students reach out to me for like application advice, assignment advice, and I give them a brief of the best I can do. Yeah. But then I signpost them back to you, or all the other people I repost on Instagram. Yeah. Because I know you guys have a strength and a level of expertise and professional wisdom that I could never have, because I've not been there yet. Yeah. So that's why I signpost the students back to you guys, but I give them what I have in the moment.
Yeah. No, you do.
I was going to say a massive thing for me about having you specifically as a mentor was you're on social media as well, and you understand that. There's a lot of social workers or social work professionals and lecturers that just don't understand what the social work space is online, and they don't understand its value, the way it holds, the power behind it. But you understand it because you're on social media as well, and you're very much into advocacy for social issues holistically and in the public sector. And like my quote that I even have on my LinkedIn is reinstating public faith in social services. And I want to do that by media, because I know how powerful that is.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people gatekeep amazing ideas with intellectualism. So only other lecturers and university students can access this information.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
with you, with the way you and Rob talk, with the way I try to do my interviews and my podcasts, we're talking regularly.
Yeah.
And we're explaining very complex ideas to the wider population so they have confidence in social services.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I really like about having you as a mentor. You understand social media, you understand advocacy. You're there, you're in parliament, you're talking about these things. I've done that before, I want to do it again.
Yeah. What about Susie, the sessions? How have the sessions kind of benefited you as well? Because I know for me, and I'll be honest with you, I learn a lot from you. I do. Do you know what I mean? No. But I do. No, because it's important, because I learn, Susie, a lot from you as your mentor. Just like, even though I've got all my experience and accolades, doesn't mean to say as a mentor that I don't learn from you. I learn a lot from you because I hear the way you speak. I hear like the information that you bring, the research, some of the emails that you also kind of sent to me about, oh, Nana, you know what? I've seen this, or I'm applying for this application form, and I've seen like this bit of research. I learn, Susie, a lot from you when we have our sessions, and I love the fact that I can still learn, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Susie spoke to me about this. I'm going to go and read up on it. But I learn a lot from you in terms of our sessions.
Thank you.
But go on. So I was interrupting you. Sorry. Yeah. About the sessions, isn't it? About how it
sessions.
benefits you. Yeah.
Okay, so I like our sessions because they're very clearly structured. It's 1 hour. We always know what we're going to talk about before. It's usually 3 bullet points. You usually give me homework in between, but not anything outlandish.
Yeah.
But definitely something to improve on. So yeah, they're structured, and it's a professional working relationship. I have a lot of respect for you.
Yeah.
And you put that time aside for me. And yeah, our sessions are structured. They're honest. You're not politically correct. You're not party political.
Yeah.
You're just real. You're genuine and you're straightforward, which I really appreciate because the message is clear when I'm taking that in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really appreciate our sessions, but it's also the in-between. So at the beginning of the year, I had a legal exam and I was so scared. I was like, this is too complicated.
Yeah.
They've given us a case. They want us to explain law and stuff. This is so scary. And then you phoned me before the exam.
Yeah.
That wasn't even our mentorship time, but you knew how nervous I was and you just gave me that reassurance before. And then I applied for an internship. I ended up getting it because of your support, but you dedicated an entire session to teaching me how to interview as a social worker, how to design your application form, and then you called me before the interview.
I remember.
So
yeah.
you're supportive outside of that protective time as well, and that means a lot to me because I struggle a lot with anxiety.
And the thing for me, Susie, as well, is that as a mentor, I try to make myself accessible outside of the time, because I think sometimes mentors, I'm not talking about me, but some mentors is like, well, you know what, I'm only going to talk to you when we have our session. I don't believe in that. I believe that you need to, as a mentor, be fluid, and also you need to also know your mentee and how they work. So even when me and you talk on WhatsApp, I always go and respond to, oh, Susie, I'll give you a call, because it's important, because like, I don't want, for me in particular, I don't want it to be a thing whereby it's like, if you need advice, unless if I'm in a meeting or something like that, if you need advice, that you can't come and speak to me and say, Nana, you know what, can I get advice on something? Even if it's not between Monday and Friday, after on the weekends, I make myself available where you can just give me a ring, because I think it's important, because in life, and take social work out of it, in life, mentors are so important. Yeah. And I recognize that. And it's like what I was saying to you before about my mentor, how I speak to her on the weekends and we have our sessions. I didn't want it to be a thing whereby your access to me is limited. I want your access to me to be unlimited, so that you know, okay, Nana, you know what, if I need you for this, I can respond to that. I don't have to wait until we book in our sessions, be like, okay, Susie, right. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes having that kind of, that interim period, or that period whereby we haven't had a session, but something's coming up and you can speak to me, then we can use the session to address it overall. But you might need maybe 10, 20 minutes where you need to speak and be like, Nana, you know what, I've got this dilemma. Can you just talk me through it? Then what we do is that we can reflect upon it in our actual sessions. You know what I mean? That's why I try to make our sessions in person. Like, obviously it's cold now, but we try to make our sessions like in person when the weather's good, but we just do it on Zoom, because you've got an area of flexibility. I think for me, it's important. That's what for me makes a good mentor.
Personally, like, I was incredibly grateful to have you as a mentor. Nana's brilliant. Like, this year was very hard for me. My personal life was a roller coaster. It was very tumultuous. So if I had to wait till the next month session to be able to talk to you, like, within the next few days, something bad was always happening.
Yeah,
and you
I
was
know.
on the phone. You were like, Susie, you can cry if you want to. Like, it's fine. Don't panic. And you gave me real good life advice as well. You didn't mind giving me life advice, and it helped.
Yeah,
I needed a professional,
yeah.
and I needed someone objective and someone mature to just someone I could trust. And also my uni closed down, and it just happened.
Yeah,
The university didn't close down. The social work department closed down
yeah.
because it didn't meet some of the
Requirements.
which is completely fine. I had a brilliant experience. I liked my lecturers. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna. It was just difficult because it closed and it was abrupt to me.
Yeah.
I did not expect it, and it really impacted my life and the logistics of things, because I had planned things one way.
I remember, yeah.
And they'd gone the other way. So I phoned you and I was like, no, I'm not going to do this anymore.
No, I remember.
I'm a failure.
No, I know. I remember. And to be honest with you, that point, I know that was massive, because I know even when we had our sessions, we always spoke about your plan, and in a way, it derailed it because of what happened. It derailed it. But then what was good, and what I was saying is, obviously because you're at another university now, is that I was saying to you that sometimes when certain things happened, certain doors close so other doors open for you. So like, obviously the plan we've got for next year, yeah, in terms of, you know, my kind of like pathway for you, what we're going to be doing, in terms of like events and your planning, it's wide open now.
Yeah.
In terms of it, do you know what I'm saying? Because I was like, no, you know what, Susie, wait, I know what you're saying about your uni and it closing down, and you've done placement, but spin it on its head though. What does that mean for you? You actually have a year of opportunity, and you have a year to play with. Do you know what I mean? You have a whole year to play with, to develop yourself, to broaden and widen your CV, even as wide as it currently is. Widen your CV, so by the time you get to placement again for next year, you're ready. That's your final year. Then boom, you're going to qualify the following year. So that's how I looked at it. Because I think if I said to you, Susie, you know what? You're right. It's over. Yeah, it's peak. Yeah, you know what? Nah, Susie, it's peak. Then Susie, you know what? That's me as a mentor doing you a disservice. Part of my role, yes, I have to let you know when things are difficult.
Sure.
But also as well, I have to also look and see where is there opportunities for growth for you. And that's what I'm saying. That point where it looked like, okay, things are not going to go your way, I was like, nah, you know what, Susie, let's dissect it. So when we spoke in that session, I was like, Susie, no, actually, wait. Okay, fine. The uni's closed down, the department has closed down, but you've done your placement, you passed your placement, right? However, you can now spin things on its head. Because remember, I know you worried about your grading. Do you remember? Worried about your grading. I said to you, Susie, look, when we deep it, yeah, remember, you have an opportunity to get a higher grade this year, where it actually is going to count. And then next year is your final year. Yeah, so the fact that it might have closed down the department, you've gone somewhere fresh. So you start at level 0. That means you can look at getting a first, getting a 2-1. Do you know what I'm saying? So then when you get to your final year, you have more of a chance to get a higher grade. That's how I spun it. Because I wouldn't have done you any justice to say to you, Susie, yeah, you know what, it's done. That isn't my role as your mentor in life and also in social work. You know what I'm saying? And I keep saying to everybody, the best social workers in the world don't have a first. I'm just saying, the best social workers in the world are not the ones who have a first. You know what I mean? I'm not saying the grade don't count. The grade's important and it counts. But the best social workers are the ones whereby actually they've got the practice experience, they've got the life experience, and just how they are. So that's the reason why, in terms of your journey and where you're going, like we're still having our sessions, but next year is open and we've got so much planned. So like I said, it's just good for people to actually see this, because like I said, Susie's one of many mentees that I've got. Do you know what I mean? But here, what we're discussing is why you do need a mentor. And I'll say to everybody, invest in it. You know what I mean? Whether financially or not, invest in a mentor. But matching of mentors to mentee is important.
Massive.
You know what I mean? Go on, Susan, go on. You're saying.
I have friends in my previous social work class that were in your ASYE advice groups and newly qualified social work groups.
Yeah,
and they
still
said
are,
it
yeah.
was so beneficial. So I know other people that are literally benefiting from that, and they were like, oh, it's brilliant, this, that, and the other. So yeah, you're trustworthy.
Yeah. No, I know. And what you're saying, Susie, you know, I do agree with that, you know. So, you know, the main thing for me is that I want you to grow. I want you to continue to succeed. What is your plans though?
My plans?
Yeah, what are your plans?
So first, I want to go back to the leadership thing. I really look up to you because, again, I was speaking about the anxiety. I'll have these thoughts running and they won't stop. I don't know if anyone's seen the film Inside Out with Riley and her thoughts, the anxiety will be running. But you always ask critical questions and interrupt my thought process. So that's really powerful. But my big plans, again, I'm back to purpose. So I'm big on youth justice, supporting young people, and preventative measures.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't know my CV, but you know.
Yeah, I know your
CV.
CV. Yeah.
So I was part of the youth parliament, and then I was also part of a partnership, like a serious youth violence strategy board as well, where we spoke about the statistics of crime rates in our area, how it was affecting young people and how we can mitigate those issues. And then after that, I was the vice chair of the British Youth Council's campaign Youth Select Committee on knife crime, and we released a report called Our Generation's Epidemic Knife Crime. We had 1.1 million responses from young people across Britain.
Yeah.
We debated it in Parliament, and it was powerful. It was a powerful time, and I liked it, but I didn't want the awards and the debate in Parliament and the newspaper clippings to be the end of my career.
Yeah.
I wanted to learn how to be a real life practitioner. I wanted to be a professional. I wanted to do one-to-one practice with young people in real time, and I wanted to study things to do with that. That's the most interesting thing to me. So currently I want to be on a board of trustees with decision makers in organizations that I'm passionate about. So you always send me a range of organizations that are excellent for, like, young people with terminal illness, disability, research, this, that, and the other, and I think it's brilliant. But I always go back to youth work.
But you will get there, Joe. You will get there. And like I said, as part of your pathway, you know what plans, you know what we've got sorted out. Do you know what I mean? So that trustee thing, that's leadership. That trustee, that board of advisors, you absolutely can do it. And you know I believe in you. And you know you're going to go to a lot of heights, innit? Do you know what I mean? You know, so yeah. But Susie, you know what? Today's been really, really good. It's been really, really good to have you on. I know you've been on other shows, but it's been good to have you on to kind of speak about your journey, because also I guess you're speaking also as well on behalf of a lot of students who may not feel comfortable and all these sorts of things. So what would your message be to your fellow students or your peers?
Okay, first of all, I'll say thank you all for your support on the Social Work Survival Fast, because it's nice. It's a community. It keeps me going. And I would say for you, looking up to you as a mentor, you have all the characteristics that I want. You're dynamic, you're fast-paced, you're confident, you're well-networked with people. You balance a lot of things. You carry a lot of responsibility in your life and in management of social services. And you were an advocate. So that's what I want to emulate. To other students in my situation, just be vulnerable and own your truth. Yeah, you're going through stuff, you've got a lot of stuff going on, but that doesn't mean you can't be an incredible social worker.
There you go.
Engage with pop culture and content, so things like reading books. For example, one of the newspapers is The Voice newspaper. It's a Black British newspaper that's positive, so it's not like the blog pages. A lot of the stuff that they post is stuff that links to social work. So if you listen to these podcasts, read these newspapers, read these books. So my 3 book recommendations are Lem Sisay's My Name Is Why, Saw by Simon Willie, and Looked After by Ashley John Baptiste. You read those books, you understand social services better than if you're reading a textbook, because that's someone's autobiography. So engage with pop culture, engage with current affairs. Social work is political with a small p, but that political is still important. Widen your horizons. Go to these conferences like the Black Care Experience.
Yes.
Or just other excellent things, community care. Go to the conferences, put yourself out there. Engage with pop culture, broaden your horizon, and try and get a mentor. Sometimes it's just you message someone, you say, please, can I have an hour of your time? And they might even give it to you for free.
You go.
Or just network. But that's the kind of thing that I go for. My biggest advice is you need to aspire to be a leader and get those skills now, because you're advocating for other people when you become a social worker.
That's right.
And it's not fair on them for you to be incompetent.
Guys, you know what? That's the end of the episode. That is the way to finish off the episode. This is the reason why Susie's going to go far. I'm saying it. Susie's absolutely going to go far. Yeah. So guys, all I'm going to say is you like, subscribe and share. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Susie, thank you for having you on.
Thank you for having me as well.
See you later, guys.
Bye, guys.